SML has issued a statement in their defense, but that doesn't, in the view of the OSP, change anything from what is found.
Thank you. I think and you should listen to me carefully, and then my panelists and those who are watching. See, given what I've done with my life from 2004 up till now, I'll be the last person to ever support any collusion between state officials and individual private organizations to loot from the state. I will never do that. The issue of metering our petroleum production system such that revenue is not lost to the state is something that should be supported by every well-meaning Ghanaian. If you are metering our petroleum production system such that we would not lose revenue and you mean well for Ghana, you must support it. This is the job that SML said they were doing. And this had generated a lot of hue and cry. And it culminated in the work, the investigations of KPMG. Now, if you look at the outcome of the KPMG work, they had identified some procedural issues, but essentially they were saying, in spite of the procedural issues that they had identified, the work of SML could go on. Now, power changed hands. We have an OSP going into the matter. Now, the OSP has found issues not only with SML, but also with even the work of KPMG. Now questioning even the credibility of KPMG and the work that they did. So OSP is saying that the work itself that SML is said to have done shouldn't have been done or never happened. And then it's also having serious issues with the processes or the investigative work of KPMG. We thought KPMG over the years had gained some credibility and reputation for the work that it does. But OSP is questioning even the way a manner they did the work. Now, this has culminated in the President of the Republic directing the termination of the whole SML deal. Now, I fully align myself with the directive of the President of the Republic, not because I'm his appointee, not just because I'm his appointee, but also because of my belief that if it is wrong, it is wrong. If it is right, it is right. If it is wrong, it is wrong. If it is right, it is right. And so if after the work of the OSP, that now question not only SML, but even the investigative audit of the KPMG, if in the reason of President, the thing is a no-no and it's wrong, then we all must support the President. But I have a question. See, in our quest to fight corruption and to tackle some of these things, we must go all out. I read and listened to the OSP saying that about 1.4 billion cedis have been paid the SML. 1.4 billion paid SML. But the OSP is saying it is going for a refund of 125 million. And it baffles my mind. If the work wasn't done, if the contract shouldn't have been entered into, then you, the lawyers, Martin Pebu, you are there. The contract itself is void. If it is void and we paid 1.4 billion, then why are you going to collect 125 million?
Okay.
Do the math. Subtract 125 million from 1.4 billion. Who benefits from the void contract of SML? And so I think this is something that you may want the OSP people to speak to, because I don't understand. Okay. If we pay them 1.4 billion and contract itself is void, then let us go for the entire amount, because the contract itself is illegal. Okay. Let's go for 1.4 billion rather than saying we are going for 125 million. Martin is there.
Aligns with the OSP's detailed findings in this report. This question that Professor Gyampo is asking, Counsel, that in his understanding, if there was this amount of money spent or paid
in a void contract
to SML for no work done, but we are recovering just 125 million.
Yeah,
where's the justification?
I perfectly agree with Professor Gyampo. That side of the OSP report doesn't add up. It doesn't add up because it's just like the way KPMG made some mistakes in its own report. Because what Gyampo is speaking is law. That if the contract is void, and not just the voidness, but let's bring some education. The Supreme Court says when something is void, it doesn't necessarily mean we will not pay. They will look at it on a case-by-case basis, okay? That's what the law, the current state of the law. So it means that this one, when it comes to the recovery, civil recovery, where when it gets to the Supreme Court, they say they will consider each case on its merit. But the good thing for us here is that the OSP's own report shows that SML did not do the work. Mr. Okanse, I got the chance to get to some of the paragraphs. Look at paragraph 215. Even before 212, 215 mentions how the SML flow meters couldn't work. Then there's paragraph 212, then 213. There are many other paragraphs that show that SML didn't do the work. So, and with that, I don't see how Kiseja being saying he'll recover only 125 million. So that part, I agree. Sometimes maybe he should have said the investigations. I mean, he will come out with the final figures when he's done with the, the charges. Because that much, I agree with Professor Gyampo. We are going to take all that money. Because look, when you look at the paragraphs, you see even from 164, 165 onwards, you will still see how SML was not up to the task at all. They kept lying and lying. And please, so when you look at the 215, 212, etc., you see how the reports, some of the reports were now being taken to Foriata. So Foriata was the one receiving reports of SML's false performance, etc., and he didn't do anything to stop them. So as for Foriata answering, he has a lot of questions to answer on this deal, because at that point, he was receiving this report when SML was lying that, oh, our figures are good. First, they said their figures were tallying with the icons. Then later, they saw that they were lying. Then they said, oh, they need to change their flow meters. Look at paragraph 215 onwards. They say, we'll change the flow meters. So all that while, why were we paying when the work was not being done? The man is telling you that my machines are not working. So how are you paying him? And that's how come we come back to the Manasseh documentary. The head of IT, you see the guy, is it Mohammed or so? You see him, Gani. A picture is worth 1,000 words, okay? He's saying their equipment are not the best. The GRA, MPA equipment for measuring the flow meters, etc., are better than the SML one. So why are we paying? Why are we paying when the man is there? It's not even like a phone call for somebody to come and say his voice has been doctored or anything. You see him with your own eyes. So I agree with Professor Gyampo.